Darren Till directly approached Carl Froch at ringside, confronted him face-to-face, and security eventually had to step in and separate them. Meanwhile, Froch remained seated, casually eating an apple and laughing through the entire situation. That moment is where this whole story begins. But keep watching, because what Froch later revealed during an exclusive interview completely shifts the direction of this rivalry. And honestly, the final detail he shares about his recent gym activity after that incident is something very few people expected. So, let's break everything down. Carl Froch is now 48 years old, a former unified super middleweight champion of the world, and an inductee into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He stepped away from professional boxing in 2014 and has been retired for 11 years. His final appearance in the ring came when he brutally stopped George Groves in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium, creating one of the most memorable moments ever seen in British boxing. Since retiring, Froch has focused on media work, his YouTube channel, and attending major boxing events around the world. He was recently in Las Vegas for the Crawford vs. Canelo fight, which we'll get to shortly. Publicly, he has shown no intention of making a comeback. However, another story has been developing behind the scenes. Darren Till, the former UFC welterweight title challenger who has competed against some of the toughest athletes in combat sports, has repeatedly targeted Carl Froch with fight callouts. Through interviews, social media posts, and even in-person encounters, Till has consistently pushed for the matchup. The tension finally exploded at a recent event when Till walked directly over to Froch, got right in his face, and had to be pulled away by security personnel. At the time, Froch simply laughed, continued eating his apple, and carried on. Later, though, he sat down for an exclusive interview, and that's where things became much more intriguing. During the conversation, the interviewer asked him a straightforward question. Had Darren Till been in contact with him? Froch's response was surprising, especially considering how dismissive he seemed during their confrontation. According to Froch, the decision largely rests with Till if he truly wants the fight. He explained that he doesn't have a strong desire to return to competition, but then added an important point. If the financial side makes sense, it's something he would seriously consider. He even suggested that he believes it could be a relatively straightforward fight for him. Then he paused and admitted that things are different now because he's 48 years old. Froch went on to say that if they had met when he was around 35 or 36, the contest wouldn't have lasted long at all. In his view, it would have been a complete mismatch. The reason people are even discussing it today is because more than a decade away from the sport has narrowed the gap and made the matchup somewhat more interesting.
The Darren Till fight. Listen, Darren Till ironed his opponent out. It's quite a bad knockout as well. I think the fight could have probably been stopped earlier. And then Darren Till literally went off on one. He looked over the top rope. I feel like I knew it was coming. I kind of knew something would have been coming. Darren Till, top rope, shouting, "Where's Froch the shit house?" and all this. I mean, come on, it's not really what you call the Cobra, is it? Four-time world champ, Hall of Famer, who goes in with absolutely anybody. You don't really call me a shit house, do you? Because as you know, the resume speaks for itself. I don't need to justify myself. You know where I've been, you know what I've done. But can this fight with Darren Till happen? Can it make any sense? Do I want it to happen? Realistically, probably not. Listen, I retired 11 years ago. And when I retired, when I was almost 37, I was like a month away from my 37th birthday. I just rendered George Groves unconscious in front of 80,000 at Wembley Stadium. I don't mention it much, in case you didn't know. But I was offered a lot of money. I was offered a lot of money to fight Chavez Jr. I was offered money to fight Gennady Golovkin. The desire was gone. And when the desire's gone, you're not going to jump in a boxing ring. I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute. They're giving money away here with these fights because Darren Till's absolutely fucking useless. I'm not being funny. Listen, I'm talking about professional boxing level. At the level he's at, he's done all right. He's got decent balance, throws a decent backhand from the southpaw stance. But let's be honest, this would be a mismatch. Even at 48 years old, retired 11 years, it's a mismatch. But is there any money in it? Is there any cash in it? I don't know.
Then Froch goes a step further and labels Till a complete gobshite. According to him, Till was standing at ringside talking nonsense, and coming from Carl Froch, a fighter who shared the ring with names like Andre Ward and Mikkel Kessler. That's probably as restrained as an insult can get. But that's still not the biggest takeaway from the interview. Things become even more surprising when Froch reveals something that changes the entire perspective of this situation. He admits that after Till's ringside outburst and the confrontation that followed, he actually began training again. He started throwing punches on the heavy bag, getting workouts in, and going for runs simply to test how his body responded. And the interesting part is how he describes the results. Froch says he feels fantastic. After spending 11 years away from competition, he's dealing with no major aches, no lingering injuries, and no significant physical issues. He even claims his jab still feels sharp. The way he talks about it is especially telling. Rather than shutting the idea down completely, he casually says that it all depends on how he's feeling and what mindset he's in. That's not the kind of answer you'd expect from someone completely opposed to a comeback. In many ways, it sounds like Carl Froch is admitting that Darren Till's ringside antics have indirectly pushed him back into the gym. Think about that for a second. A fighter who has been retired for over a decade, with nothing left to prove and a legacy already secured, is now hitting bags and testing himself again because of an incident that ended with security stepping in. He found the whole thing amusing enough that it motivated him to train. Once you know that detail, the footage of Froch laughing during the confrontation takes on a completely different meaning. But there's another angle to this story that hasn't received much attention. Froch's opinion of Till's boxing ability is far from complimentary. He points out that Till has competed 3 times in boxing, yet none of those bouts came against established professional boxers. Instead, all of them were against former UFC fighters making similar transitions. Froch argues that Till still hasn't experienced what it's like to stand across from a legitimate professional boxer and believes that reality would be a major wake-up call. He then compares Till's level to Tommy Fury's before adding another remark. Froch says, with no disrespect intended toward Tommy, that he doesn't rate Tommy particularly highly either. Interestingly, Tommy Fury also recently gave his own opinion regarding both men following his contest with Eddie Hall.
So at the end of the day, we can do it, we've got the power to do it, it's just, who is there now? Who else is out there?
Maybe you should fight Carl Froch instead of your dad.
Fuck Carl Froch, how's that? Honestly, it's right what my dad said in the press conference, where are they? Everybody in the world knew who was fighting tonight, but they've got a lot to say over the internet, but where are they? They're nowhere to be seen. So it is what it is. Everybody talks big over the internet, but in real life they've got fuck all to say. So it is what it is. I'm not interested in Carl Froch, and if you want to pay me dad the money that he deserves, he'll gladly fight him in a heartbeat.
I know you probably don't really want to talk about it, but Darren Till was here tonight, and he's probably one of the people that you're referring to in that.
Him referring to him what?
As in, people have said things, but Darren Till did turn up here tonight. I don't know if you knew that he was here tonight.
Of course, he wants that payday that he never got. He wants that big payday, like Canelo says, you want payday, you want payday. But at the end of the day, he had his chance. I'm far bigger than what Darren Till has to offer. I got a list of opponents and I chose Darren myself as a warm-up fight. He fucked it, and that was his own fault. I'm miles ahead of that. That was only ever a warm-up fight for me. You seen him in the bare knuckle job the other day. He got stunned with the other fellow, I don't know his name. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I've got no... And everyone's saying about we barred him from the event, done this, done that. I'm not interested. Darren Till, come tonight, I'm not bothered. I wish Darren Till the best luck in whatever he's doing, but that ship sailed. And I don't want to hear any more of it, as my dad just said it in the press conference. It's done.
So, in Froch's view, Darren Till's current boxing standard sits around the same level as Tommy Fury's. And that's not exactly high praise considering he has openly admitted that he doesn't rate Tommy all that much. He even suggests that Tommy could potentially come out on top against Till. Coming from someone who spent years competing against the very best fighters in boxing, that's a pretty harsh assessment of Till's abilities inside the ring. Yet here's where the situation takes an unexpected turn. Even after calling Till a gobshite, even after claiming that a fight between them during his prime years would have been over in about a minute, and even after questioning whether Till is capable of dealing with a genuine professional boxer, Froch is still back training. He's running again, spending time on the bags and putting work in because of all this attention surrounding Till. What's even more interesting is that Froch admits he's received a few attractive offers that have at least made him stop and think. He hasn't committed to anything, and there are no signed agreements in place. But for a man who spent the last 11 years with no real interest in returning to competition, The fact that he's now considering these possibilities says plenty. Since that ringside incident, it appears fighting has found its way back into his thoughts. The same confrontation that Froch seemed to dismiss with a laugh while casually eating an apple may have had more of an impact than he initially let people believe. And that's exactly why so many people within boxing have started paying attention. What looked like a harmless exchange at ringside has suddenly evolved into a conversation about whether one of Britain's most accomplished former champions could actually be tempted into stepping back toward the ring.
I was there when Darren Till went for me at Misfits last week.
You bowled it.
First of all, where was you?
No, you bowled it.
Oh,
You bowled it, mate.
hang on, you were sat next to me.
No,
And I said,
mate, listen.
Connor.
We had a game plan, me and you.
I'm glad you said that.
We had a game plan, me and you, and you bowled it. I was expecting to leave here and see on all social media that apple was straight in his
Are you
mouth.
going to go on record that I'd say I bottled it?
You did.
You was the one that
You
was
told
gone.
me. You told me.
You was gone.
Because I'm sitting there watching you eating your apple. You know what you should have done with the apple. We
Yeah, I should have done that.
we spoke about the strategy and you didn't follow through. So I've just gone home and I'm a bit disappointed watching it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. I don't think I let myself down there, but I didn't want to get in the ring to then have a roll around. Didn't fancy it, but I was looking round for you. Even your missus was there. Even your missus was there. You was gone.
I was gone, mate. You're on your own there.
What do you reckon anyway? If it,
So this is where everything really comes together. Darren Till approached Carl Froch at ringside, questioned why he believed he was being ignored, and the situation escalated to the point where security had to step in and separate them. Froch's response at the time was simple. He sat there, casually eating an apple and laughing the entire thing off. Then, after it was over, he went away and started training again. That's the real story beneath all the dismissive remarks, the gobshite comments, and the claims that the fight would have been over in a minute during his prime years. We're talking about a 48-year-old Hall of Famer, a man whose career achievements are already secured and who has absolutely nothing left to prove, finding himself back inside the gym after an encounter he publicly portrayed as little more than a joke. Froch has already made his position clear. If the financial offer makes enough sense, he'd be willing to consider it. He's acknowledged receiving proposals, admitted he's thought about them, and says physically he feels excellent. No lingering injuries, no significant issues, and according to him, his jab still feels as sharp as ever. Those aren't the words of someone completely shutting the door on a comeback. Instead, it sounds more like someone waiting to see whether the opportunity becomes worthwhile enough to pursue. And considering what Froch accomplished throughout his career, along with what people around him have reportedly noticed during training, the conversation becomes even more interesting. At this point, the debate isn't really about whether Carl Froch is capable of competing at 48 years old. The bigger question is whether Darren Till truly wants the challenge he's been demanding for so long. Because the figure that has emerged from more than a decade of retirement and started working the bags again isn't simply a former fighter reliving old memories. It's the Cobra, a man who has spent years away from competition and may now be feeling the urge to return. Now, the question goes to the fans. Does this fight eventually become reality? And if it does, will Darren Till look back at that famous apple moment very differently than he does today?